So, okay. You see, what your hubby needed to do was, see, the problem that he ran into, oh, Russ, it's a little too bright.
Okay. Right on your face, yeah.
Yeah. He didn't actually, like, he wasn't getting inside of himself and finding the infection. You know, he was just sort of superficially, like, testing, yeah, it's in my gravitational body, you know, okay, yeah, I just took it out, no, okay, I tested, it's gone. But he wasn't like, he's got to feel the symptoms disappearing.
Yeah, exactly.
And all.
Well, you know, he's not, like, you know, he has done a little bit of testing. He's always like, well, I don't know, I think my hands are tingling or something, you know. So he hadn't really gotten good signals. And I said, well, we need to do this to get rid of the cold. And so he was going into it just, you know, so I was testing for him, and he was, we were doing it together. But, you know, when you do it for someone else, it's really not going to stick, so it didn't work. But, you know, I felt it coming at me, and, I mean, this thing was a lion, and I felt like a lion tamer with the chair and the whip, killing that thing, you know? But I didn't get it.
Good.
You're not going to get it because you're going to...
No, I'm not getting it.
You're going to protect yourself from it. It's just not going to happen to you.
No, I'm not worried. And, you know, everybody's like, oh, well, it's good. You know, I hope you don't get sick. I'm like, no, I'm not going to get sick. You know, it's just not going to happen. But, I mean, he's just passed out right now. He can barely move. It's hard to watch.
He's trying to test.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is, like, for a few days up till the day he really got hit with it, he kept saying, I just can't get sick. I just don't want to get sick. I have this huge day on Wednesday. I can't get sick. You know, and that's all he focused on. So he just, like, manifested this horrible cold, you know?
Yes.
So it's a lesson in manifestation and, you know.
Yes.
Ross, lower your camera. Nice.
Yes, like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's...
A guy has got in touch with me. He lives in Baltimore. I think he's from Morocco. And we exchanged some messages. He saw a comment on Bayat's Facebook wall. He is one of your friends, Bayat. His name is Badr, spelled B-A-D-R.
Wait, stop. Don't tell me his name.
Okay.
If he wants to write to me, he can. He's one of my friends, so no problem.
Okay.
He's your person, and how are you helping him?
We just chatted yesterday evening, and it was quite late, and he was reading the comment I made to a video of Bootsy and Barb about demons, and he was asking me things about Immunix. He told me that he had been to the website before. I told him to go to the website, start watching every possible video, and learn how to test. And then today I wrote to him again to ask him if he has Skype and if we can talk. At the beginning, he seemed personally interested, but then he started to tell me, you know, my wife has a lot of health problems. Anyway, let's see what happens.
You should never meet with anybody until after they've joined the web college.
Yes? Okay.
Person should always have a password, and you should work in the web college with them.
Okay. I'll tell him that. I was going to tell him if we met on Skype anyway.
What?
I was going to tell him if we met on Skype. I was going to tell him join the college because you need that to work. And then I was just going to talk to him on Skype to introduce myself, you know, and understand something about him.
If you feel more comfortable doing that, fine.
Okay.
You know, you should really do these things the way you feel comfortable doing them.
Yeah, that's what I do, but then I realize I don't want to invest energy. They have to really move towards wanting to do this, and then they get a password, and then I'll really do too much. I mean, I do too much if they don't do that. If they don't take that step, then I'm taking all the steps.
Yeah, it's true.
So just hearing my voice, often they say, oh, this is a real person, it's real, they have real experiences, and they're not weird. Or, Barb, please call Barb.
Hi Barb, are you going to be in the meeting today?
Oh, Barb has to be...
And Connie?
How shall we...
Barb is there, ready to be hooked up.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
I shall now...
You can call her on Skype, she was in the bathroom.
I shall now... add Barb.
You know, I have somebody in one of my classes that, I don't know why she comes. I'm like, you don't want to be here. I can tell by the way you're doing this class, and I want her to leave because I, find it distracting to have that.
Throw her out.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there's Barb in that sweater. I like that sweater.
Hi, Bob.
I do. I really do like that sweater, and I think you should wear that. You look great in it, and it's very sweet.
It polarizes people. Some people hate it.
I know.
It's
I love it.
My
lovely.
snowflake. All right, well, it's almost gone to Goodwill.
It's a perfect winter sweater.
Yeah.
It's winter today. It's chilly out there. That's good. I attracted a
I
pollen
keep
season.
saying this about Nate. I was just talking to Ross about something. This man, that she's telling me about. I keep saying this about Nate, and I think maybe you might hear it a little differently now. But what I say is, Nate is so fortunate because he has no time. Ross, can you understand what I'm saying?
That he has no time.
Yeah, that's good. Because Nate has, at some point, he has 10 to 25 people a day writing to him on Twitter saying, please talk to me, can we meet on the phone, can we meet on Skype, I need to talk, I want to cure my herpes, and I'm so worried about it, and I'm in pain, and I'm suffering, and oh, please help me. And he just doesn't have time. He says to them, join the web college. And then the ones who do, then they write to him and they ask him after they join, and they say, okay, I've joined, shall we meet on Skype, what should I do? And he'll say, well, before we meet on Skype, do this lesson. See, he does things that he has no time. See, our problem is we've all got a lot of time on our hands, and we don't know what to do with ourselves. So when some guy like this writes to you, you're sure, of course I'll meet you on Skype. Let's get to know each other, right? That's what you were just
Yes.
telling me. See, so you got like tons of time. You don't know what to do with. Whereas Nate is a student. He's in college. He meets people and plays music with them because he's in music school in Tallahassee, Florida. In this book, you know, this fantasy that I'm writing, my imaginary character. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah?
I'm not talking about the real Nate. I'm talking about the
No.
imaginary Nate. Okay. And so he meets for gigs. He meets people. He gets gigs and he gets paid a little money for them. So he has to go to those. And it's all happening. So somebody says, okay, I got my password and now I watched a movie and now what do I do? And Nate will actually test for the person. And he'll call them on the phone. Because he can call cell phones, and most of the people are in the USA, so he calls them on the cell phone, and he doesn't get them. Usually they don't answer, and he says, okay, hey, listen, I'm sorry I missed you, but I tested for you, and listen, you can cure this. Keep going, and I'll tell you what to do. Do this now, do this lesson now, and this one. And he throws it back and forth using messages to people. And that takes him 90 seconds. Get it? And see, 90 seconds he's got. You okay? Ross, are you all right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. All right, so say something to me. Now, so you say something to me now. Okay?
I understand what you mean. We shouldn't lose time on people who aren't really interested. They have to show that they are interested and then we can help them.
Actually, I'm saying we shouldn't lose time on anybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
We shouldn't lose time on each other. Bootsy shouldn't lose time on her husband. Boots, just to go back to you with your husband's flu.
Yeah.
Can you see how, in retrospect, you might have positioned him better and also spent less time doing it? Tell me about that.
Well, I could kind of see, like, it was like a car accident waiting to happen or a train wreck or something. Just the way he was talking leading up to, when he really got sick, I could have helped him long before that. I mean, I could have helped him long before that, even. Over the months.
Uh-huh.
But, it's like, I talked to him about it. He knows what I do. He's aware of it. And I'm not going to force that on him. He knows. I've showed him testing. Now he's going to make, a gesture towards doing that. Or like you're just saying, I'm married to him and I won't waste my time on him, so.
This is exactly what Nate would do.
Right. It's the same thing with what I do for work. And I've learned because I've had, I used to just everybody, oh yeah, come work out with me. I've said this before, but, I make so many offers and I meant it, and if anybody took me up on it, I'd be there. And now I don't do that anymore. Because, most people don't take me up on it, and they might come and then, they don't get the results. They have to do a lot of, I make them do a lot of things before I work with them because they have to show that they're really interested. Otherwise, it's not going to work. They're not going to stick with it. They're not going to make any progress, etc.
Thanks. This is the way Nate feels about things. Okay? And so Nate does not waste time. The thing is that he didn't feel that way when he started. See, when Nate started tweeting, Nate was the kind of person, he's a very gregarious person he's a people person, he loves people, he's a musician, he wants people to come to his gigs, so he's gonna, if somebody wants to talk, he'll talk, and so on. The thing that happened with Nate was that right at the beginning, people started writing to him, and at the beginning, he did, spend more time with them, even though it was killing him. And after a while, he realized, but see, there were so many of them, because he started with 1,000 people on Twitter. He already had 1,000 people following him on Twitter when he found the web college. So he was getting a request or two every day, and then he started to realize, boy, this is taking too much of my time. That's where he started making rules and guidelines. And you see, we have to realize we are on probably day one of Nate's journey. Like, you just don't have the experience with all this, And also, Ross, you're a pretty personable person. So if you meet with somebody on Skype, they might really like you and, get into something in a cursory way. You'd never know that you were getting a substandard result. It'd all feel good. Ross, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Say it back to me in other words so I can...
Okay, you think that I don't have enough experience, which is true, and but it could be a good thing to meet me on Skype because they may trust me and want to start doing something.
I want everybody to go to the A-list on Twitter. Barb, can you do that?
Yes.
Yeah. I might have to go on my phone.
And you already answered this email, this tweet that I sent you, Ross. Ross actually tweeted what she thought about colleagues, allies, and supporters. And I think you're right. You're my colleagues. Ross, you are my colleague. You with me?
Yeah.
Barb?
Yes.
Barb, you are my colleague. Get it?
Yes.
You and I are colleagues. Now, what we have discovered from years of experience is that the thing that really puts us into a new place, that causes, it's a kind of tipping. It's just not the global tipping that we usually think about, but the kind of tipping where we go to a new place. Those people are supporters. And where you got the thing wrong was where you said ally. Ross, you know what you wrote about? See what you wrote? Barb, can you see what Ross wrote about ally? What an ally is?
On Twitter?
Yeah. You see Ross's tweet. It's right on the A list. It's right near the top.
I'll check it out in a second.
I'm still getting there.
I can read it. I'll read it out loud if you'd like, or you want.
Yeah, okay.
While you're finding it.
Yeah, read.
So this was
Yeah,
an
read it.
I think colleagues are people you work with. Supporters are on your side and help you. Allies make you see what's wrong.
Let me see.
Well,
We should correct that then. Do you see the difference, Ralph? I'm not even logged in. Or maybe, do you understand what an ally is now, Ross?
Yes.
Oh, good.
let's say that Bob, you are my colleague, and Bayard and Greg and Franny and Jennifer, okay? My husband is a supporter because he knows what I'm doing, he's on my side, and at the moment he's watching the TV in the kitchen not to disturb me. But an ally is someone like Bayard who makes me understand what I'm doing wrong.
Well, it's funny though, because yeah, that could be true too, but an ally is also like your supporter, your backer, you know, the one that's aligned with you. And sometimes your colleagues are the ones, like right now, we're colleagues who are helping each other see what's wrong and, you know, work on each other.
Yes, I think that a colleague can become a supporter and also an ally. I don't think that people is always a colleague and always a supporter and always an ally. They change role.
Mm-hmm. But I think an ally like sort of assumes, that's why I come like the word alignment. It assumes that they are aligned with you. They're backing you. They're your ally. They're gonna stick up for you. We're colleagues. Sometimes, yeah.
Right.
We're colleagues, but we would like you know, train each other and correct each other and all that. What would you say, Greg?
Oh, I was saying they're, sorry to interrupt this board, that they're not mutually exclusive, but there are differences, and what same thing is that they're all working together. Supporters usually are not going to bat for you. They're sort of behind you, or they're supporting with their money or their attention or something, but they're not as active. Colleagues are allies, and you know, they can be both. But colleagues are people who are there with you in the fight, and they're like doing the same thing. Really, they're in the same sphere with you. Allies could not be in the sphere with you. They could be outside, but they're aligned with you, and they have a different walk of life. Like a big Hollywood producer might be an ally and going to bat and doing things in his or her you know, group of people, and trying to pull strings or do something to get something together for us. But I think like we're colleagues. Of course, we support each other, and we're aligned. Allies may not be colleagues. It's just little differences you get.
Yeah, it's also because like a colleague is more like the person you were saying that would train you and correct because they understand your work. Where an ally could be someone in a totally different field that just you know, wants you to win.
Well, there are different types of supporters. Like there's like when you have a personal trainer. That's what we're doing with each other. We're training each other. At times we switch into that role as someone from the outside saying, you know, you didn't complete that rep. You didn't push all the way up through your arm, and do that more. Okay, okay, now get your form right, and they correct you. Yeah, it can be that, but they, that's one aspect, yeah.
Do you remember, Charles, that guy who cured cancer and then donated SCD?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he was a colleague, he was a supporter, and he was also an ally.
Well, knowing him, I would think he was more a supporter for a while. He was never a colleague, and he was briefly an ally in his verbally, but very quickly changed. He had brief periods of, oh yes, I like this, I can.
Yeah, that's a good example. Actually, that's a good example, Ross, because he was a supporter because he gave us the CD. He wanted to give something.
Yeah.
He gave us $100 a month for a few months.
Yeah.
It's cancer.
And he wasn't really a colleague because he didn't study himself as an immuner. I mean, he cured his cancer. He studied enough to do that, but he didn't like apply himself to becoming an immuner and studying immunics and helping others and all that, or being on the cure team. So he's not really a colleague. And an ally, like, you know, where is he? You know, he's not really an ally, or he'd be working with us now on some level. Like, if you look at Keeley or something like that, they're allies, but they're probably doing things behind the scenes that are aligned, where Charles, like, he supported us by donating the CD, and that was an ally or a colleague, I think, implies, like, you have a long relationship. you're working more on a day-to-day basis.
He was a client in a sense. He was
a client.
He felt that he should give something back, which he should. You know, we saved his life, and so he gave us a certain amount of something of his thing until his partner in business said, "Oh, why are you supporting those weirdos?" And he stopped. So I think he felt bad about stopping, but he felt more bad about losing this thing that he had with his partner.
I don't know the whole story.
Yeah.
I only know part of it.
So you see that all of us here are colleagues with each other, right? Or your husband, I think your husband's more of a supporter. He supports you, but he's not like totally aligned. He does not totally align. He doesn't totally get it, or he'd be in the same room, or he'd, TV. He's not really a colleague, but he's a supporter. He doesn't, he's in, like you said, he's in the other room. Get out of your way. So it's like when people say, "Oh, I support you in what you're doing," but they don't even really know what it is. Totally. But what brought this up? You were talking about somebody at work?
Okay. I'll tell you what brought it up.
Oh.
I have found it very interesting to listen to all of you. You have said some very good things. And I am very impressed with all of you from listening to this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And I also realized something about myself, which is I am trying to use these terms in a very specific way.
Mm-hmm.
And unless I explain them to you, you'll not be able to use the terms the way I'm using them, and we won't have a common language to talk with. So, what I'm going to try to do is define these terms and make them concrete. But while I'm doing that, I don't want you to think that you said anything that was not useful, because the things that you said were very useful. And one of the things that was useful about them was they got me to see what was needed. So I want to start... No, wait, maybe I won't start that. Now I'll just start by telling you that you are colleagues. And it is probably what you will always be. You will probably never be allies or supporters. Nor will any of your family members probably ever be allies or supporters, though they might turn out to be colleagues. For example, let's take Boots. Now, can you see right now why your husband needs to be a member of the Cure team?
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Now, and you know what? You can probably, in seeing that, you can see why everybody needs to be a member of the Cure team. Everybody on Earth needs to be our colleague, and they all need to be a member of the Cure team. And your husband can start in a simple way, the way anybody else is supposed to start, by signing up for the Web College and watching the introductory movies at the beginning. That's about 8 hours. He can play them on his smartphone when he's driving to and from work. He is actually able to go back to school. That's what he has to do. This is what people have to do to become our colleague. They have to go back to school. This is a college. That's what you did, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the reason he needs to do that is because, and you know, if you say this to your husband, you say, oh, the first thing, you sign up for this Web College and you watch these movies, it'll take you, there's about maybe 10 hours worth of them, just this little group here, these just few links right here. Not all these other movies, they're like 20, 40, 80 hours. But these will only take you about 10 hours, and he'll say, I don't have time to do that, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
absolutely. You can see that right away, okay?
Okay.
And so what you need to say to him, or maybe not say to him, you could just shrug your shoulders if you want, I don't care, but it would be a truth to say to him, look, what's his name, by the way?
Georg.
Look, Georg, doing this is going to save you time.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to find that, you can use your downtime to do your studying, and in a pinch, when you need to be at work, you will be there. I guarantee you, you're not going to lose any more work days, ever, again, for the rest of your life. You will be at work. And you know something? Even looking back before I discovered Immunix, because of the way I used diet, do you know that I have not missed a day of work due to illness since the 1960s?
Wow.
Yeah.
Not one single day have I missed, including when I had pneumonia. And I was fine. I was able to, do everything I was just going to do what I normally did. In fact, I went running when I had pneumonia, and it was like 20 degrees out there in deep snow.
You're crazy. I think people also, they get sick to, avoid going to work. So it's not always like they want to go to work. They create this illness so they can stay home and be in bed and not go to work.
It's an excuse.
Yeah, but Georg wants to go to work. Georg doesn't want to miss work.
I think he does.
You think,
I think he wants to,
well, maybe there's other things going on.
Well, then you should tell him that.
Well, see, that's the thing that he's got to,
You should tell him that. You should tell him that.
Oh, I do tell him.
Okay, good. Well, then you're all set, baby.
Yeah, I'm all set.
I know you're doing everything you need to do. So now let's.
He has to make some, gesture towards doing it. He knows. I give him the information. It's there.
Okay. Well,
I'm not a naggy kind of a girl.
I think you got to do more than that, but you can't nag. But
No,
see,
I'm not. I don't nag.
But see, what you need to do, he has to understand why. And when we love somebody, when we care, when they're in our lives.
Yeah.
And see, it's the same with Franny and Greg. I run into this every day with Franny and Greg. Not that they don't do Immunix or something, although they maybe could do some more. Maybe I could too, but that's not a problem. But the problem is there's all kinds of things that I always have to talk to them about, or they to me about, because sometimes I need to understand why. Barb, go on mute or something.
You snorting again, Barb? Taking your morning cabbage and bananas, or?
She's drinking chocolate, I think.
Well, if you're, enjoy it. Enjoy the chocolate, but don't touch the microphone, okay? Because you're breaking my eardrums. Now, now we're going to go on to the next thing, and the next thing is a supporter. What is a supporter? See, and I mean a very specific thing about it. So I'm going to tell you a story about how I got a supporter. A long time ago, this would be 2000, maybe 3 or 2, Healy was telling me about the Fly Lady, who is a woman named Marla Silly, who's famous and who does a mission where she lets women know, and it's almost all of her followers are women, though there are some men, who are into keeping their homes great. And she lets them know that what they do is as important as what their husbands do. With the job, the husband does a job, he brings home money and he bought the house and everything. And what they do, housekeeping, raising the children and so on, that's as important. And somehow she gets this across because she helps women see how to do it, how to do things better. One of the best things she ever said, I think, was you can do anything for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So if you want to accomplish something, spend 15 minutes on it and walk away. You know, and you'll find you've got something done. And this is how, and she makes people feel good about themselves by telling them this stuff. Because it's true. You know, if you spend 15 minutes, boy, you feel so much better. I know me, if I do like some of something, I feel 1,000,000 times better about it than if I do nothing.
Yep.
Barb,
Yes.
have you ever gone
Yes.
out with your bumper stickers and spent like 20 minutes handing them out and taken in a few bucks, like 20 bucks or something like that?
Yeah.
And didn't
Yes.
that make you feel better than not doing it at all?
Yes. Definitely.
So the difference is 100%, right?
Oh, yes.
Like, because, you know, anything is 100% more than nothing.
True. Don't have to be a genius. That's true.
So, anyway, I wrote to her. And when I wrote to her, for whatever reason, I actually really, I related to her as somebody who was doing something that really helps. And I wrote to her, well, what I did is I wrote to her assistant at the top of my letter. And I just said, make sure that the old original flying lady actually sees this. Because I knew she gets 1,000 pieces of mail a day, you know. So I just said, make sure the old original flying lady sees this. And she handed the thing to the flying lady. And the flying lady called me up on the phone. All of a sudden, I grabbed the phone, and there she was. She was talking to me, you know. And we were like working together as colleagues, like we are, for months and months and months. Over a year. And out of that came, first of all, here's the first thing that happened. When she got the thing that I wrote, she sent a link in one of her, she sends out, she had an email list. She had like around 200,000 people on it, her email list at the time. And she would send out throughout the day, she'd write emails and she'd send them. And she wrote a little mention of, you know, the website with a link. And we had a mailing list that we required that people join. At the time, it was required to join the mailing list if they wanted to watch the first movie and like find out. Just to find out what it was, they had to give their email first. And our email list in the week after she sent that out went from 1,500 to over 5,000 people.
Yeah.
And the second thing that happened in that same week, we took in around $1,000 that we wouldn't have taken in otherwise. You know, our usual week income for the week was like, $70 or $150 or something. And we took in another $1,000 over that. And out of that, there came people who I then started working with. And among them was Kathy DiPietro. Now, do you know, anybody know who Kathy DiPietro is? So Ross knows her.
Yeah.
And Kathy DiPietro is for Boots' benefit. Do you know who Kathy is, Boots?
No.
She is the woman who moderates the Cure Drive email group on Yahoo.
Okay.
I have invited her to be on the Cure team, but she has not taken me up. And she always says she wants to, but then, never
Something,
happens.
brother.
So, I think one thing that would be good for us all to do, sometime in the next day or so, I want each of you to write to Kathy. And you can easily find her in the Cure Drive email group, Kathy DiPietro. Write to her and invite her to come to a Cure team meeting.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to mention though about Kathy before we go on is I've always noticed that Kathy does not like meetings.
No.
There are certain people like that. She just doesn't like meetings. So, she may not be the right kind of person for the Cure team. But anyway, I definitely think you should all invite her because she deserves that. She's wonderful. She helps people. She has helped so many people, and she deserves, a note from you just inviting her. I think that would be really nice for you to do that, okay? Everybody?
Is she on Facebook?
I don't think she really uses Facebook. I'll check right now.
No, I think you have to email her. You can email her through the Yahoo group. She'll get it that way.
Famac, Ontario. A number of Kathy DiPietro, so I don't know. Yeah, that's the best way to
They're
reach
better off to email her.
Okay.
So the point is,
her.
this is what supporters do. What you see, what I've told you about what Marla Silly did is what supporters do. That's a supporter. It's an example of a supporter. They are people like Marla who will probably never tip it. Like Boots, remember we were talking about John McDougall the other day?
Yes.
And you were saying, well, you were thinking about him and you were saying, I don't think he could ever tip Cure like Jane Fonda could. Right? And I think you're right. I think that John A. McDougall, if he got into this, would be a great supporter. And some wonderful people could come of it. In fact, Jane Fonda could come of it. Because for all you and I know, Jane Fonda is his biggest fan.
Right.
See, she may be a vegetarian and just loves John A. McDougall, and recommends him to all her friends like you do.
I just also want to say that I've been following the Fly Lady for years. I love her.
Sure.
Really?
She,
That's how I clean my house.
I know. I have never been the same since her program,
Yes, but do you have a control journal?
No.
Because you're not big business.
Speaking of not having time,
Control, dude.
Fire does not need a journal. He needs a library.
My control library. Okay, now I'll tell you about what an ally is, okay? Boots, you're going to relate to this. Because the ally I'm going to talk about is France. Who is typing?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll put it on mute, guys.
Okay, if I tell you the ally is France, okay, who got France as an ally?
An ally for what? In the war?
Well, I'll give you a hint. the guy who did it is a member of your family.
Benjamin Franklin.
And I read a, that's right, and I read a book called Franklin in Paris. It was one of these like 25 CD audio books. Mm-hmm. It's a great book. And you know what? I also read another book that was a 30 CD audio book, which is very good, called The Glorious Cause.
What was the other one? Franklin in Paris?
Yeah, Franklin in Paris is one.
It's a good gift for my father.
Yeah.
He'd love that.
And The Glorious Cause, when you read these two books, you understand that we would not have the United States of America had France not been our ally. Washington never would have won that war. Never, ever, ever. Never, ever, ever. But see, you got to read the books to know that, you know, because everybody thinks, well, he would have won anyway, you know. But see, the thing, as I've been reading Malcolm Gladwell, mm-hmm. and how Gladwell talks about how one thing that he said about Bill Gates, he was saying, like, suppose Bill Gates had lived in Wichita, Kansas, there wouldn't be any Microsoft, because there's a Microsoft because Bill Gates lived within a bike ride of the University of Washington, where there was the only networked computer on Earth. And the computer was free, and he could walk in and program to his heart's content. It was free from 2 a.m. to 4 or 5 a.m. every night. And Gates used to go, he was 14 years old. He'd go up to his room and go to sleep for 3 hours. He'd wake up, you know, he'd go to sleep at 10, wake up at 1, you know, sneak out of the window because he didn't want his parents to know what he was doing. And he went and he programmed on the computer. It's these tiny things. Without France, when Washington went to Yorktown, do you know why Washington went to Yorktown, Boots?
No.
A French general told him to go. The French guy said, okay, here's a place where you can win. See, the French, when they came here, and they were way criticized, everybody kept saying, go attack the British, drive them out, you know, and the French didn't do the French wouldn't do anything. They just sat, because they were waiting for an absolutely sure thing. They did not want to spend money and people and, you know, die in a bloody war. They just bided their time and waited for the British to make a mistake. And they were very good military men. And Washington wasn't. He was basically a colonel who had promoted himself to general, and he looked like a general, and he was very smart, and he was very good at letting other people do their thing. And one thing he knew was he just had to stay in business, so he knew not to sacrifice his army, and that was smart. So it's not that Washington was stupid. He did not have the military experience. Somebody had to tell him, this is the opportunity. Go there, you can win. Mm-hmm. And when he won, and the French went there, and they taught him how to build an earthworks and all this stuff, that they knew siege warfare backwards and forwards. He had no experience with it. He was one of these guys who ran through the forest shooting Indians on his horse. That's what he liked to do. You know, he liked fox hunting, you know, and the British surrendered, right? And they come out to present the sword, and they walk over to the French general, because that was their experience, was we're fighting the French here.
Right.
You know, and the French general points over and he says, give the sword to him. That's how the surrender happened. This is what your ancestor Benjamin Franklin did.
One of the many things he did.
One of the many things he did. But this was an important thing. And you know what? Franklin spent years, I mean, you read this book, Franklin in Paris, and you understand this was not easy. He went there and, you know, he was trying to find, who do I talk to here, you know? And he just went from one person to another and got betrayed, and he got his own guys stabbed him in the back, and hundreds of people filed in asking him for jobs, and people attacked him, and he got negative press, and they were trying to cut off his stipend. Everything, it all happens. And boy, was he smart. He just knew, this is it. He knew this is what's going to win the war, and he stayed there. And he hung in there, and he made it happen. And that's what it is to get an ally and have an ally. It's completely different from getting a supporter and interacting with a supporter. If you think about, Barb got a guy named Martin Lee. She's looking through the web, and she finds this guy, and I remember, Barb, you called me up and you said, boy, I found this guy, I'm really excited about him, because he's giving away free Reiki certifications. And a certification is $600. And this guy is an accredited Reiki master. He's totally qualified to do this, and he's doing it. And tons of people are taking him up on him. And we called him. I don't know how we got him. Maybe Barb wrote to him or something. And the guy said, sure, I'll be on the Cure Show. His name's Martin Lee.
But didn't he die? He went back to Australia and then he died?
I think so.
He is from Wales, I think.
Yeah.
He lived in Scotland. And he comes in, we do a Cure Show with him. And at the end, remember, at the end of the Cure Show, he says, yeah, you know, this really is good. You know, I see how people could cure things with this. And he said, well, I'll put a link on my website for it. And over the years, there's been this long chain. It wasn't anything like Marla, okay? It wasn't like the Flying Lady where we took in 1,000. It was more like, you know, a few months later, somebody said, oh yeah, I found you through Martin Lee. And then a few months later, somebody said, oh yeah, I found you through Martin Lee, and so on. Now, question is, I just want you to know, if you get somebody like this, anybody, and I'm talking to Barb, you know, of course, but I really do mean anybody, that we will share the donations from the people that come in as a result of the person. You know, not just whatever the person does. You know, Martin Lee never got a web college thing. We didn't, you see, he was a different category of person. Like Ross, you know what I was saying about the guy who wrote to you and how you know what, to just tell him to sign up for the web college?
Yeah?
Well, we didn't tell Martin Lee to sign up for the web college. Why do you think that is?
Because he's not committed enough.
Can you see any other reason why?
Maybe he doesn't have the money.
Oh, he was rich. He was very successful. Martin Lee was very successful. He was a very successful person. His web, even though he was giving away, see, he was giving away the level 1 certification for Reiki, but then he was teaching the level 2 Reiki course and charging whatever, $1,500 for that.
God.
See, and it's often true that when people do the level 1. Of course they want to go on. I think there's like 9 levels in Reiki or something.
No, 3.
Okay. Oh, you know, okay.
It'd be just like us saying, okay, you're a ministry. I'm not charged for that.
That's what I'm
With
saying,
with
but
level 1, you work on yourself and on other people with your hands. With level 2, you have lots of symbols, and you can work on people at a distance, people, animals, whatever, situations, karma, anything. With level 3, you can attune other people.
So why do you think we didn't? Why do you think we didn't ask him to require that he join the web college?
Because it was unfair.
Why?
Because he was using the first level just to attract people and, let's say, force them to pay a lot of money for the second level.
No, I'm asking, why do you think we didn't ask him to join our web college, the curator?
Yeah, I understand. I understand the question. I think because he wasn't fair.
Well, what about Barb? What do you say? Why do you think we didn't ask him to join the web college?
Ask us. I don't know. I don't remember now asking, but why didn't we ask us? Because he had already recommended some other people. I don't know.
You've got
Maybe he would have. Maybe he would have used the web college to attract clients.
What about Boots? What do you say?
Excuse me?
Well, I'm asking Boots.
Oh, there's a really bad echo.
Go ahead, Boots. Let's see if you have an echo.
Because he's a shyster.
Martin Lee was not a shyster. He was a very honorable person.
Oh, okay.
He was a wonderful person. And he actually,
Right up to the web college.
you know, one of the things you have to realize about a supporter, like Martin Lee was a, I got to tell you, Barb, turn down your speakers. Let's see if that helps. I'll tell you, or go on mute. Go on mute, Barb. See if that helps. Oh, you're on mute. Okay, Ross, go on mute. No, I don't think you need to go on mute.
I'll go on mute. Let me try it.
Oh, let's have Greg go on mute. Okay. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, Barb, you can probably turn your speakers up again. It was Greg. The problem was Greg. Okay. So, no, Martin Lee was a great person, and I want you to understand that a supporter, when people support this, they really are giving something. Because suppose somebody went on Martin Lee's thing, and they were going to pay him $1,500 for a level 2 Reiki thing, but they clicked on our link, and they learned how to cure things, and they decided to... Barb, are you having a dialogue with somebody other than me?
No.
What are you doing?
I don't get to look at Facebook very much. Some of the stuff people put on is so funny.
Which I know it is, but would you mind just... Can you try to stay focused? Because I'm getting distracted watching you.
Sorry.
I have to say, you know, and I'm glad you're on camera so I can see what you're doing.
He's checking on me and you, Barb.
Barb, why do you think we didn't ask Lee? Why wouldn't we require somebody who's a potential supporter to get a password for the web college?
Well, you don't have to be a colleague to be a supporter, number one.
Good.
And,
thank you. As a matter of fact, you know, I don't think Martin Lee really ever got into this, and he died.
Right.
And, you know, it would have been nice if he did get into it, but what he chose to do was give something. And, you know, Bootsy, what you were saying about how, like, you've given him the material, you've told him about it and all.
Yeah.
Well, we did that with Martin. I talked with Martin a bunch of times after, you know, that first time we did the Cure Show with him. And he was always great, you know. I don't know what he died of, but he was always great. And the thing was that he was a big enough person to risk losing a $1,500 fee to somebody who clicked on our link and never came back to his thing. Ross, do you understand that?
Yes.
So he was the opposite of a shyster. He was the opposite of a level 2 Reiki certification is worth $1,500. That's what they charge for it.
No.
Oh, well, maybe he didn't charge 50. How much do they charge?
In Italy, I paid for the second level 250,000 liras. I'm not talking about euros.
Okay. So, how much is that in euros?
That would be, I think, 125 euros.
Oh, so see, he probably charged something like that for it. Maybe I just got it. Maybe I forgot. You know, it was 150 instead of 1,500. You know. Now, are you?
Well, it's just the way you set it up. Like, you know, he did this and that. It felt like you were going that direction, like he was being unfair somehow.
No, I think Martin Lee was very fair with people and cared about people. And he cared about them enough to put a link to our web college on his thing. Now, Barb, are you still with me?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have to say about Martin, you know, in retrospect?
Well, I remember, I think we did one cure show with him. That was before we had, YouTube and all that. It was just over the phone.
That's the one that's the one I was talking about. That's the time I was talking about.
Yeah.
I never totally met the guy, but it's almost like on some level he knew who we were and what we were doing before. Like I've had some friends like that. Like actually and it's funny because there are people who are just about to die, and they knew that this was good or the way to go, and they would like encourage me or support me, but then they would go off and die after that. Like they wanted to do one good thing before they left or something. Remember I was thinking about Michael Arado and people like that. But they didn't do it themselves. Like he did not do it himself. I remember Martin Lee, and on this one call, it was mostly I don't think we were doing much in Munich. We were mostly discussing things. But I remember, like you said, that big, spike of people that came and through him, including Leslie, I think, right? My friend Leslie, which is how I got to England. This woman was really into Munich and actually invited me in and sent for me to come to England. And I think she was through Martin Lee. But it got me, I guess what I'm thinking about is that maybe it's good to get more kingpin people like that, more key people that are leaders of their own, have their own following, like he had, and then, get them involved. But I guess I would have worked more closely with him. I didn't even know he was sick or had anything going on.
That is exactly what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. What you just said, which is that they're all over and they're easy to communicate with.
Right. I think about Marianne Williamson or someone like that. Some of these people I follow on Twitter, like, wow, they have huge followings, and what we're doing is really not competitive with what they do. It's complementary. I think Martin Lee recognized that too.
That is true, he did. It is almost impossible. Well, let me put it another way. For a long time, I've been thinking about getting an ally. Years and years of thinking about getting an ally. And when I think about getting an ally, I think about the kind of thing that happens that I told you last week, that happens between Nate and Jane Fonda at the end of the book, where he spots her in the dining room, and he walks over and he says, "May I sit down?" And she says, "Okay." And at some point, you know, he tells her what he wants, and he says, "I want an answer. Will you do this?" Assuming what I'm telling you is true, and that people actually are able to do this. Assuming that a mother can show her child how to do this, and the child will cure his dengue fever, and the child won't die. Given that, if you just accept that, can you make an agreement in principle with me, and then you can investigate it later, and if it doesn't do that, you're out of it. You know, you can just say, "No, forget it. I'm not going to do this. It doesn't work." You know, it's not what you said it was. But if it is what I'm saying it is, will you promise me that you will start immediately and not stop till 7 billion people know that this is possible? They don't have to be doing it, okay, because they're not going to. That I know. I just want them to know they can. Whether they believe it or not, that's irrelevant. You've done your job at that point. You can go home. It's like with the Vietnam thing. You sat on the dam. They photographed you. It was on the front page of the New York Times. Everybody saw it. The issue was put before the American people. You flew home, and that was it. And you saved all those people. And that's what I'm asking you for. Will you do it? And she sits back, and she nods her head. She can't stop her head from nodding. You know, she isn't even really consciously choosing to nod her head. It's just nodding. And she thinks, of course I'll do it. I'm not going to let the kid die of dengue. Of course I'll do it. But that's Jane Fonda. You see, the thing about this all is that if you say the exact right thing to the wrong person, Barb?
Yeah.
Do you ever talk to the wrong person?
Yes. Yes.
How does that go?
Well, I'm getting better at nipping in the butt, recognizing it. Sometimes it's just like I know I'm not going to go anywhere, or I'm spinning my wheels, or I'll chalk it off as practice. It goes, so it's like energy spent without much coming back. That's what it feels like.
Let me ask Boots. Boots, when you were talking to your husband, and after you were done talking to him, did you come away feeling like good about what you said? Like, I said the right thing there. Did you feel that?
When I talked to him?
Well, we're trying to help him with his flu.
Yeah, I felt good about it.
Yeah, so see, if what you say makes you feel good, then that's a good practice session, isn't it? You see what I'm saying? No?
Absolutely.
Right.
Like I'm saying, you can practice on your husband. He could be the wrong person. Get it? You with me?
Yes.
Are you talking?
I'm talking
you're talking to Ross.
No, I'm talking to Boots, actually.
Okay. Well, for some reason it cut out and I lost about 10 seconds.
Oh, okay.
It's back. Yeah, I got the gist of that. Yeah, it felt good, and
Well, I'm saying
it was
that maybe your husband is the wrong person.
Yeah, sure.
See,
but, still offer it to him.
But you'll still feel. But when you say the right thing, you'll still feel good.
Exactly.
Barb, do you always say the right thing?
Not always, but I'm getting better, and I usually correct myself pretty fast. But I wouldn't say always. I'm getting better at it.
I don't always say the right thing.
Yeah. Takes me a
you
couple
know
shots
how
to
it feels, right?
right. Yeah, I guess it takes shorter time to get to the right thing once I start talking at all. But But sometimes I'll say the wrong thing or an ineffective thing or a, you know, not non-precise thing.
And when you do that, what do you do then?
I usually correct myself. I mean, I can usually tell by how it lands or doesn't land in the person, or I either like let it rest or I correct myself, or I learn to adjust. I used to like really traumatize myself if I said the wrong thing or missed a shot, so to speak. Like had an opportunity and withheld something or didn't say something when I had the opportunity. Like didn't step up or didn't give a card or a bumper sticker when I had the chance, or didn't, you know, when I'm not thorough with the person. But now I learned how to readjust or just, you know, take it as a cost of doing this, so to speak, and then just move on. I mean, I've been doing this for a while, so I've learned how to get pretty efficient and not, you know, stuck too long if I made a mistake or, you know, not the best shot I could make.
Well, I think one thing that we have to realize here is that almost everybody is the wrong person.
Yeah, that's true. Like almost everybody sort of practiced for that Jane Fonda kind of person sometimes, whereas you could probably just directly go to the big person right away, and that would save time.
You might be able to.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, when, like I was asking, well, Barb, let me ask you something. Like, are you, like, what are you looking at right now? First of all.
I was looking at Twitter. But now I'm looking at everybody on Skype and myself.
Okay. Well, all you can really see is Ross, right?
Yeah, everything else is still pictures.
Okay.
And the Scientology stairway to heaven. Get across the bridge. Getting to get up the bridge. You gotta get rid of that picture. It reminds me of Scientology. I'm trying to get across the bridge. They have across the bridge. You're supposed to get across the bridge.
I had a really nice picture of myself on Skype, and it deleted it when I updated it.
Take a new one. That one's
Okay, I'll do it. I am. That's really true. I gotta definitely do that. I'll do it after the call.
okay. But actually, now you make me think of all the time I actually talked to a so-called celebrity or big player, and I didn't say the right thing, or I didn't, you know, totally connect or whatever. In a way that made me think.
Well, see, one thing that we have to realize about Nate.
Echoes coming through.
Greg, go on mute. Greg? Okay, thanks. Hey, one thing we have to realize about Nate, do you think maybe Nate gets like, how about, 10,000 negative things that coming at him in the course of 11 months? Maybe 100, like people writing to him saying, I'm not going to follow you on Twitter anymore, you're channeling dark forces. Or they write, Christians write, this is the work of the devil, get away from it. Do you think maybe he gets like 10, 20 of those a day?
Maybe. I mean, I realize in my case, I haven't gotten that directly, but I can feel it. Like, some days I can tell I must be getting attacked from somewhere.
Ross, what about you? What do you think about that?
It's possible.
Well, right now, what you were saying about, Barb, how you feel like you could be getting attacked, like, let's everybody test, am I being influenced now by something other than myself? Not I mean the buyer or the, but like a demonic attack or... Anybody get a yes on that?
Yeah.
Again, no.
No.
Okay, well, just remove it. If you feel that, remove it. Boots, did you get anything?
Yeah, I got a yes, and I am, I have a friend right now who's writing me, telling me those very things. Just, that's dark, and you've got to read the Bible, and you're, gone off the rails, and, he's just on me, like, every day.
And are you free of that now? Did you cure it?
Yeah, just now.
Okay.
I mean, I do when I get those emails also.
And Tess, did that cause any thoughts earlier in this meeting? But everybody test that.
No, for me.
I got yes and no.
I got no.
Again, no.
Well, that's good to hear. Okay, Nate, he'll get this negative thing coming in, and a minute later, someone will write to him and say, "You're an angel. Thank you so much." Do you know there's a woman, one of my Facebook friends, wrote to me, and she said to me, "Let's be clear," she said, "I don't talk much. But I just want to say to you that you are doing the work of the angels."
Wow. Great.
That came in a long time ago. Barb, what are you looking at now?
Same thing. I'm listening to you. I'm just looking at Twitter. I'd rather just sit here and not do anything.
You know what I
I'm not
found?
doing it.
Barb, years ago I was doing a session with John Penhale over the phone. And I was trying to edit something while I was doing it, and I realized I couldn't do it. I was like...
Yeah, it's true. Every time I do something during a meeting, then at the end I'm really mad at myself, so I should stop right now. To the computer that much. Oh my God, it's so good.
Thank you. I'll do the same, except I'm on the phone while waiting for somebody.
Hey,
So,
that's worse.
I've got to talk to this person.
I'm just impatient. I'm ready for a big tipper.
So, tell me about it. No.
Yeah. I don't know how it looks like. Sometimes I'll fall into I'll be walking around, I'll just consider if I just have a good day, manifest a good day, have some good interactions, then I've done my job. But it's kind of not really, if I've just manifested some good stuff for myself. Yeah, I don't think do things on a big scale. Like I don't find the Martin Lee, or I don't do something that's really out of my comfort zone that makes it better. I just have held on to my own cure or my own good feeling for the day. So that not made a great stride, a big change. I think this idea of having this class, the immersion class, like having people actually do. I still think there's a way people don't understand what it is, or there's a way to talk about it. That's what I was trying to come up with, like a post that actually explains what it is. Like I've got a huge bunch of friends from my high school and junior high from Appleton, and I was realizing, and I was thinking how almost seemed to them some of the stuff I've said or shown on my page over the years here on Facebook and stuff, but how I could make it more user friendly, this more accessible, or not so strange looking to people like that. I think it could be explained in layman's terms. It's a college, like what you just said, immersing yourself in the way of immunity is basically like going back to college. That's what I was going to say in my tweet. If you have something that a doctor says is incurable, you might want to enroll yourself in school and study curing. Something like that, because otherwise it sounds like this esoteric thing. I think sometimes that everyday people don't always relate to, or they do think it's opposite of their current religion or something like that, so they are competitive with it or something. So So it's my latest direction is trying to clear up those kind of misunderstandings or figure out simple ways to talk about it that make it simple. I think that's what was good about the Fly Lady. She was just this regular, kind of like housewife type of lady, that had a huge following of other housewives and women.
I'll tell you what I want you to do, Barb, and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to go to the homepage of curedrive.org right now, and I want you to watch the first minute of the movie that plays automatically, and read the things that are on the first screen of curedrive.org while you're doing that, and listen very carefully to what is said in that movie. Okay? Let's make it 2 minutes. You're going to listen for 2 minutes.
To the opening movie?
To the opening movie, the opening 2 minutes of the opening
I also got an idea of
movie.
An opening movie.
Before we talk, before you say anything else, before we talk. So I want you to, first of all, you're going to have to mute yourselves. Okay? And I'm going to, and you might want to mute your speakers, because I'm going to, or you can listen to it when I start it and see if you can hear it, or if you want, mute your speakers and start it for yourself. But I'm starting it now. So hopefully it will start. Here it comes. Mike, you've cured your herpes, right?
Yeah, I have no more pain anywhere. Like, I was getting like really good pain here. It hasn't bothered me in weeks. And this is the thing, even though I really didn't get outbreaks, I always come every day. I would constantly have like pain all over my throat bone, into my ear.
Yeah, you were having internal herpes outbreaks. I mean, that's what your doctor told you anyway. And also, we tested that herpes was being enabled by the Epstein-Barr virus, and I want you to test it. I cure the Epstein-Barr virus.
Oh wait, did I cure the Epstein-Barr virus? Yes.
So you cured both of them. You had to cure both of them because they were cofactors in each other.
Yeah.
And tell us about your visit in Florida, where you usually would get a herpes outbreak and you didn't get one.
I didn't get one because I was really focused on keeping it removed the whole time I was there.
Have you had one since?
No.
Have you started getting signals yet?
Yeah, it was so amazing. I woke up this morning, I was going through the list of bodies and the pathologies, and I was in signals, and I was so shocked because I didn't think I would get any.
Right.
Another thing that I noticed this morning, after I was doing the steps and the testing, my nose stopped straight after. So I was having nosebleed.
Yeah.
And after I doing all the testing and removing of the pathologies out of the body, my nose stopped bleeding straight away, which is quite amazing.
Yes, well, you see, what you're going to notice is that you're experiencing a disappearance of symptoms.
See how crazy my fingers are?
That's 2 minutes. Now, let me ask you guys. First of all, go off mute again. Was that simple? What you?
Yes.
Ross, was that simple? Would you say?
Yes.
Boots, was that simple? Pretty simple.
Well, it was basically showing that people connect and they feel better, and that it's simple to do that.
Well, would you say stopping a nosebleed is a feeling better, or would you say stopping a nosebleed is a physical symptom
it's showing
disappearing?
that people create cures, but it's not saying, it's not talking about the website or the gym power.
Exactly. Okay. Boots, what do you think? Was that simple?
Yeah, you know, it wasn't too long ago I watched that.
Okay. Greg, what about you? Would you say it was simple? Greg? Franny, what about you?
No,
Why not? You say what you want.
it's simple to us because we do it all the time, but people are probably wondering, even though these people are talking about having a result, which is pretty simple, I don't know if it's apparent how they're doing that.
Yeah, I think it might be valuable to have sort of a little introduction, like what you're about to see is whatever. You know, because it just jumps right in, and some people find it annoying, or the person's voice is annoying, or they don't know what they're going to see, or how it relates to.
That's actually, I mean, I don't know if we want to do that, but that's actually what that woman does for Tony Robbins. She explains what what we're seeing. In
Same here, like I saw that guy, the gazer guy, the guy that just comes out and gazes at people, and he has a woman that comes and introduces him too, or introduces the whole thing. Says, you know, what you're about to see. Yeah, the Tony Robbins thing did the same thing.
Well, let me ask you something else now. Okay, we're just talking about what you saw on the screen. Okay? Was it concrete?
Yes.
Like Franny says yes, it was. Ross, what do you say?
Yes.
Barb?
Yes.
Boots?
Yeah, I don't know. First time I saw it, it was kind of chaotic, but I got through it.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway.
Me too.
I watched it because, you know, I came there to cure something, so I was really motivated. It never showed you, I don't think it ever showed you how to get a signal. And
Okay.
But, you know, that made me join the web college because I'm like, well, I gotta find out, you know, so join.
That's a very good thing you just said. And Boots, you might want to check your microphone because you sound a little distant.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I had it up.
All right. So it was concrete, it was simple. Would you say it was unexpected? Barb, would you say that it was unexpected?
Well, when I watched I saw Angela and the other.
To a brand new person, would they not be expecting what they saw? Ross, what do you think?
Yes.
It's unexpected. Okay.
Unexpected,
Yes.
Okay. Was it was it credible, believable?
Yes.
So to you, it's absolutely credible. Okay. What about Boots?
Yeah.
Did you say yeah, Barb? But yes.
Yeah.
Now, why do you say it's credible?
You see it.
You know, the people are right there. It's not like you're talking second person or whatever.
Right. Okay.
Their story.
Now, how about, was it emotional?
Yes.
Okay, why was it emotional?
Because you see people changing when they connect and they remove things. It's very emotional.
Okay. Nicely said. Nicely said. Boots, what do you say? Was it emotional?
Yeah, it was.
Greg, what about you?
Well, I found Angela's emotional. I don't know about the rest.
It wasn't totally emotional because they weren't doing it right there. They were telling you about something they did in the past.
Okay.
In the past. Some of the emotional ones are the ones we see where they're like in the moment. They're doing it for the 1st time.
Right. Now, was it, did you see it that it could be a story or the beginning of a story?
Yes. If you want to know these people better, there's.
So there's a story there. Boots, what do you say?
I don't know about that.
Hey, why did you start? Did you feel like you were starting to get involved in the story when you were watching it?
Well, I don't remember the whole thing. There's a lot of people in there, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't, maybe there's too many people for just like one story.
Okay.
I mean, it compelled me to join, so.
That says something.
All right.
But I think it could be shorter. I think it's too long.
Now, what you have said in this, by answering these questions, tells me that the movie that you watched has a quality that's known, it's a new business word, it's called stickiness. Boots, have you ever heard that term before?
No.
Well, it's one of three things that Malcolm Gladwell says cause things to tip. The three things are the law of the few, which means a few people cause something to tip. Never a lot of people, it's always a few people. Number one. Second thing is that it's sticky. And the third thing is the context in which it exists. It has to be in the right context. Barb? Barb,
Yes?
what are you doing now?
I'm just sitting here.
Nothing. Okay. So
Hear the last.
what you're all talking about, we should have something that's shorter, it should be whatever. Actually, in all the I have spent a huge amount of time studying this problem. And one of the ways I studied it was to use people like Malcolm Gladwell to train myself. And also books like the book about Franklin in Paris. And what I came... Greg, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. What I came up with... Barb, remember what you were saying before about how it's a college and you have to join the college?
I just think there's a lot of people come to the thing.
Why would somebody join a college and promise themselves that they're going to spend like hundreds of hours on something?
They want to get well, like what Lucy was
No,
saying.
actually, they want to get well, but they would probably convince themselves that that wouldn't do it because they don't want to do that. People don't want to. Who wants to spend hundreds of hours in going back to school?
Not many people.
The thing would have to be very sticky. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is transcendental meditation sticky?
No.
Oh.
I'm doing that.
What, Ross?
I'm doing that.
Doing what?
Transcendental meditation.
Now, right now?
No, not right now.
I know you had your hands beside your head, and I was wondering, is that transcendental meditation?
No. Transcendental meditation. Okay, they talk to you and they give you a mantra, personal mantra. Okay, that just for you according to what type of
Okay,
person
we
you
know,
are.
Ross, we know.
Yes.
Okay, it's okay, we know this. What I'm saying is, you all say that TM is not sticky, but I have a feeling that it's very sticky.
Yes.
People do it for many, many years. Is Reiki sticky? Barb, would you say Reiki is sticky?
Well, if you're defining it by what you just said, yes. People seem to do it for many, many years once they start.
In other words, what happens, stickiness means that somebody touches it and they have a hard time letting go of it. It's like sort of grabs their, it keeps them going. They start to, somebody said in passing when you guys were talking, you were saying you wondered, like, how they did this. Somebody said that. I don't remember who it was. You were, like, looking at this and you were saying, but it didn't say how to do it. I started wondering, how do you do this? That means it's sticky. See, if they
Maybe
don't,
that's what we should start.
if they don't wonder, but you don't want to tell them how you do it. You want them to wonder how you do it. Do you understand? No, you don't.
Yes.
You don't get it.
Yes.
Barb, do you-
That's what Jen said she did when she saw it.
what?
She wondered how they did it, and she wanted to find out more.
That's sticky.
Yeah.
That means it's sticky.
But see, it's funny though. Like, I don't want to find out more about TM or Reiki. I feel like I already know what they are. Like,
Uh-huh. Well, that's right.
I saw
They already tipped many years ago.
yeah, but I thought you were saying sticky is like when once the person does it, they don't want to stop doing it.
Yeah, that's true too.
Okay.
I think it depends on the person.
This movie, the movie that you were looking at, is a 3-hour movie. Do you know how many people have watched the whole movie all the way through? Barb, how many would you think?
Not many.
Like how many?
I haven't. I have no idea. People look at the site. And
Just
then
one, it was me.
Good thing. Jen, it's a good thing you said that, because I want you to notice something. I want everybody to notice something. Remember I said before, and I know it's very hard for you guys. I understand how difficult this is. I'm telling you, almost nobody is the right person. It's hard to let that in, you know. It's like you just don't want to believe that. You want to think, oh no, we could change what we do and we'll reach all those people, you know, that we're not reaching, and we won't. You know that? We're not gonna. Until it's on TV every day, and then all of a sudden those same people, those unreachable people, suddenly they'll be writing in, you know, I knew about this for years, I never believed in it. My friend Barb Retson told me 15 years ago, my friend Barb Retson told me to do this. I thought she was so full of it. And you know, I just cured my such and such. And thank you so much. That's when it's a TV show. This is the kind of thing that people have to assimilate. They really do have to go back to school. They have to assimilate it. It's not quick. But the thing is, Boots was the right person. Boots, you were the right person. We say almost nobody, I say almost nobody's the right person, but you were the right. You with me on this, Boots?
Yeah.
And you just said if one person watched the movie all the way through, I did. Right?
Yeah, I think so. There's an echo, so I didn't really hear what you said.
Yeah.
Greg?
I think
There's
it's
no
all
echo
right.
now. I turned it on to say something, and
Okay.
then you were still talking,
All
so I
right.
turned it off. So that's
Okay.
why there was an echo.
All right,
Now
thanks.
it's back to
Thanks.
off.
Thanks. You know, I've been watching a lot of movies on the web, like by Tony Robbins and a lot of other people. I've been listening to an audio book called, one of my favorite books of all time, The Science of Getting Rich. I think it's called Wallace Wattles. Wonderful book. It's so wonderful. It's an old book. And these are all on YouTube for free. And Tony Robbins had General Schwarzkopf on. And you know, one thing that General Schwarzkopf said is that the main thing for a leader to succeed is you have to recognize and let in what you've done wrong. That there is, you have to be, not even what you've done wrong, you have to let in that there is something wrong. And you know what? For many years, like I've been talking about getting an ally. And Barb, you know, a little while ago you said we should probably focus on some of these. What did you call them again? These high value people or something like Martin?
Just, key players, people that have their own followings that, people listen to. It's just like strategic. If you get one person that would lead their whole army towards what you're doing, or point you in that direction.
Well,
there's been many examples of that, like you've said, like when one mention in a book or one mention by a key person can make all the difference.
Well, Martin Lee didn't lead his whole army towards us. He put a link up. Marla didn't lead her army towards us. My problem was I wanted them to do that. Not so much Martin, but Marla. See, I was trying to make Marla into an ally, and she was never going to be an ally. She was the wrong person. Marla is the flying lady, okay? And she was a supporter. All she was ever going to do was like mention this occasionally, if that. And I put entirely too much time and energy into her, hoping that she would turn into an ally. I always think I can change people, but probably I can't. What we ought to be doing is looking for supporters, talking to them, and not expecting anything more from them. It's like Franny talks about this all the time. Like she says, don't expect more than they're willing to do. Just let them do what they're willing to do. And this should be the thrust of the effort of the Cure team. We should look for people that we like. Hey, Barb, I want to tell you something. The other day, I was watching Tony Robbins with these two guys, and they built a huge online business. They sell, the fact is what the guy sells, he sells a system for growing tomatoes. Believe it or not, that's what the product was. And it's like he sells, he made millions of dollars selling that kind of thing, stuff like that. And these guys were talking, and they were really nice guys, and I was thinking about you, and I was thinking, boy, I bet these guys would love Barb. They live, I think, in San Diego. And, if you got it, like you find these guys online, you look them up, you write to them, like you did to Martin Lee. And if they pop in, they might bring... they might have the guy might have a way of bringing a few hundred or a few thousand people, something that he could do that would. Some of these people might be very happy to do something like that. Others wouldn't be interested. I think that the thing that we've done wrong is focusing on getting an ally before we had a lot of supporters.
Makes sense.
Sure, because you might be able to talk to Jane Fonda because you know her, but most of us...
Yeah, but also if I had many supporters to talk to Jane Fonda with me, that would be good. I mean, right now I have this group here for Temple, but if I could have, had a lot of my supporters talk to Jane Fonda too, that would have made a difference.
Well, another thing is, do you think maybe we all need more practice?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. If you look at what we were just going through a few minutes ago with the movie, and I think everybody agreed, yes, it was unexpected, it was credible, it was concrete, but everybody was still going like, oh, but we've got to change it. It's not doing enough.
Everybody wasn't doing that.
Maybe that's because we don't know what to say. And the way you learn what to say is you talk to people. You tweet, you Facebook, you speak to people. Oh, Barbie, you're on the phone? I want to end the meeting. Could you just call them back in a minute? I'm going to just end the meeting in 1 second.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we're going to be right off, so don't worry.
That's okay. That's okay. This is frustrating.
Well, test this question. Did I let in an assault?
Did I let in what?
Did I let an assault in?
Assault? No, just now?
Test it. Do you get a signal?
No.
Okay, Ross, do you test Barb let in an assault when she answered the phone?
Don't we usually end at 11:45?
No, okay. All right, good. Well, then, is there some other reason why you feel frustrated, Barb?
I feel frustrated that we've talked all this time. I don't feel like we have an action plan or, like this thing to do.
All right, I'll give you the action plan. Go on YouTube and look for interesting people who make movies that you like.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And find out where they, how to get in touch with them and write to them, talk to them.
Okay.
And invite
Actually,
them.
I found one.
And invite them first. Just invite them to meet with you, and you can leave the web college out of it to meet with you, and just tell them that you really like what they're doing, and you'd like to show them how to cure things. And see, Ross.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying about the man you were talking to?
Yes.
Well, see, what you were saying about meeting on Skype with him, instead of meeting with him, meet with a millionaire.
Okay. I'll do my best.
Yeah, just write to somebody who's doing something that you like. And you'll learn, Barb, from your action plan. This is your action plan. You'll learn, because if you write to Marianne Williamson and you get a message back from her assistant... Are you still with me there, Barb?
Mm-hmm.
If you write to Marianne Williamson and you get a message back from her assistant...
Yeah.
You'll know she was the wrong person.
Probably won't go. All right.
Get it?
Yeah.
But if she gets back to you, then she was the right person.
Mm-hmm.
So, action plan away. Boots, anything else to add to this?
No,
How do you like our action plan?
it's great.
Greg, what do you think?
I have to switch off. Did I switch off? Good.
Yeah,
Good. Good. And that is a good indication that who calls you back, with how they call you back. I mean, it could be the person calls back and says, have a meeting at such and such a time with so and so. He'll be available at this time. He will call you then. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that is okay. See, the thing about an ally is that it might just be very difficult for an ally to ever hear from you. They just have too many walls around them. But for sure, Greg could talk to Jason Alexander if he could find him. That's the thing, is Jason Alexander really likes Greg, but
I'm going to put on mute again.
Jason Alexander really likes Greg. Greg used to massage him and his wife, but he can't find any way to get in touch with the guy. So that's the way allies can be like that. It can be difficult.
It would be possible to get in touch with him through his agent, that sort of thing.
Well, try
his
it.
manager.
It is. I will say, it is 5 minutes after the end point that we were supposed to end. And I hope I haven't, Boots, I hope I haven't kept you too long.
No, remember my husband's sick. He's in bed, so no family dinner going on.
You can't complain.
No, he's not going to complain.
Oh, a little hand holding wouldn't hurt anything. A little hand holding. That's so sweet.
Yeah,
This is
I
weird.
made him some nice dinner, so.
Is there an echo now? I just moved my camera away from the speaker.
No echo. No echo. Hey, Barb, what were you saying this is weird about?
Oh, I think I'm not Hashim's friend anymore. It's weird.
Oh.
People are funny. Yeah, it's just, I mean, what I've learned in the last few weeks too is that each person, you have to be very delicate with how I handle each person. Like, I have to really.
Well, you know what? Funny thing, if you think about Martin Lee, we didn't have to be delicate with Martin Lee, did we? Barb, close Facebook, please. Just let's finish.
Come on.
Okay.
Okay.
We didn't have to be delicate with Martin Lee, did we?
I guess not.
He was a big boy. He was responsible for himself. We're looking for the few people like him who are good supporters for us.
Yes.
Not the other ones who are, we have to be delicate with and all that stuff.
Okay.
I mean, Hashem is being assaulted by his family, and I wouldn't be surprised if we never hear from him again. And he'll be sick for the rest of his life.
Really? Yeah.
Unless we get this on television and he sees it there and he goes, oh, you know. But to get there, all I can say is, you know, train yourself, you know, to say the right thing to the right person, learn to recognize who the wrong person is and avoid them, not talk to them, not spend time on them. Focus on the right people. Use the right amount of energy when you do focus on them, just in case you were wrong about them, so you haven't over-invested. And just, you know, like, and don't do more than you're, like, don't stretch yourself, but try to do something every day if you can. Just try to do something, some concrete thing. And keep tweeting when you cure something. Tweet your cure. I try to actually capture the change in the cure that you got in a tweet, you know, because that's your practice. That's where you're going to learn. This is where Nate learned how to talk to everybody, anybody. And also take allow that negative feedback to come back, because that you're learning from that too. You're learning how to avoid how and who from that. How, who, and what to avoid.
Okay.
So you know what Franny always said, you want to build your immunity, get sick and cure it.
I did.
And that's how you get immunity. See you guys later. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Ciao.
Thanks.
Ciao, ciao.
Thanks,
Have a
Greg.
good
Thanks,
weekend.
Boots. Thank you. So, Boots, I'll see you on Tuesday.
Okay.
Tuesday?
Yeah, I'm up for Tuesday.
Sunday, Marcella.
Barb,
Next Sunday, of course.
Barb, Tuesday
Yes,
with
Sunday.
Boots?
Okay.
Barb,
Greg, okay,
Tuesday?
for Sunday. Greg.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Greg is gone. All right.
This movie was given to you by HUM, the World Ministry of Immunics, which enables you to cure medically incurable diseases. We also produce the Cure Drive and the iCollege of Immunics. This is the home page. And as you see here, the movie that starts playing automatically when the page opens is a 3-hour tutorial film, which underneath it is the beginning of a series of movies. If you click on these links, you go to another movie that's a continuation of the tutorial, showing different aspects of the things that people need to get into when they cure things. The movie shows many people curing things. You'll find complete cure tutorials on the home page. Under the group at the top is another, this is a video and text tutorial, and if you click on the link, you'll see it has 10 lessons, and you can click on each lesson and you'll see that the lessons are movies interspersed with explanations. And if you continue scrolling down the home page, you'll find a huge bank of movies of people curing things. Here's one of someone curing multiple sclerosis that you can click on and these play. Hopefully this one will play in a moment. There it is. So that woman cured PPMS and MS. Here you'll find people from every continent: Europe, the US, Asia, Canada. This woman cured shingles, and in this particular movie that's what she's demonstrating. And at the top of the home page you will find links to the cure meetings that we have every week. 9 p.m. New York time, Rome time 8 p.m. Underneath the cure meetings you'll find a link to Friend Me. It's actually Byard. I'm Byard, speaking to you on Facebook. And you'll meet many people who are my Facebook friends there who have cured various diseases. Many of us have cured herpes, which is what I cured. Also there, if you have trouble getting signals, there is a whole bank of movies that focus on people who are just starting to get their first signals. Many of these people went on to bigger and better things, and you see them in other movies. But these are movies about their signals, how they got their first signals. At the very top of the home page, you will find above the masthead a link to the cure shows. And we documented people curing things on, we did this on the phone. There are shows on about 75 diseases, and the diseases are listed alphabetically, as you can see. You actually hear the people curing these diseases during these shows. That's post-traumatic stress syndrome from 9/11, the catastrophe. We have a show on that, and fever, somebody curing the fever, several people curing fibromyalgia, flu. We had a flu hotline, and there are many people. These people are actually curing flu, and the flu stops. It clears up during the 15 or 20 minutes of the call. It doesn't take long to cure the flu. Over here you have paralysis, parasitic parenting, Parkinson's disease. When you cure something, please join your voice with the voices of the many people who came before you by reporting your cure in our poll, which you can do right above the tally of the cures that people have reported is here at the top. And as you can see, there's a little link here. And if you click on that, you will come to a form that enables you to report your cure. This page is the hub of the Webb College, and as you can see, there are detailed lessons on how to remove viruses, cure cancer. Here's a movie on the right here of a doctor who actually years ago cured the flu on camera. You'll notice that skill 1 in the hierarchy of skills is cure physical diseases. That's actually the easiest thing with this particular approach. And I've put a great many things in the hierarchy of skills that relate to curing physical diseases, such as ending trauma, working on your organs. Now, if we go into the Recode Your DNA, there are 10 applications or 11 applications, and Recode Your DNA is one of them. If we go inside here, what we see is a page with a huge amount of links. And then if we look at the links on the right, after the ones on the left which prepare you, these are the actual lessons. And you can see some of them. It might be hard for some people to see why blind installation procedure is related to recoding your DNA. And this is why we've put it in this application, so that it relates it in your mind. This is the reason the Webb College is organized the way it is to relate things for you in your mind. And obviously there are a huge number of things, like if you're curing cancer or herpes or any medically incurable disease, it's obvious that there are a great many things that you have to learn. And they're different for everybody. You do not have to learn everything that's listed here. And in fact, cure is instantaneous. And it's always unexpected how it will come. Like, watch these women. They're going to give you a perspective. This is a good way to conclude this little overview I'm giving you here. Say, can I go to the 144th dimension? See if you get a signal on that. Can I go to the 144th dimension?
Can I go to the 144th dimension? Yes? I guess I can.
Go ahead and do it.
Okay,
Okay.
both of you go to the 144th dimension.
I'm taking myself to the 144th dimension.
Me too.
No stopping for gas on the 8th dimension.
I feel clear.
I feel less interested in anything below the 144th dimension.
Can we stay here all the time?
I know, exactly.
Well, I mean, this would take a lot of backstory, but there are some decisions that my family's making that I now feel clear about.
Yes, because when you have that perspective from the 144th dimension,
Yeah,
you simply don't care about anything as much.
that's exactly it. But I don't care doesn't sound so good.
Well, see, that's right.
But it's it. That's really
Not
what
in
it is.
effect.
When people hear we say we don't care, they go, "Well, God, that's sick," you know.
Okay, I know.